Monica steps into the luxurious penthouse with practiced calm, her cleaning supplies in hand, but her heart heavy. For years, she's been invisible to those in power, the ones who see her only for her job, not for the person she is. Richard Blackstone, the millionaire whose home she's cleaning today, doesn't see her at all. Instead, as soon as he lays eyes on her, his voice cuts through the air like a whip. "You've stolen my Rolex," he spits, his words sharp and unfounded. The accusation hangs in the air, toxic and cruel, the sound of his voice echoing off the sleek, cold walls of his penthouse. His eyes, narrowed with judgment, scan her face for any sign of guilt, any hesitation. She feels the sting of his words, but doesn't show it. Monica has been here before, enduring unjust blame and prejudices that people like Richard are too blind to see. But this time, it's different. This time, she won't be intimidated. Richard's angry gaze locks onto her as he moves toward her. "Empty your bag," he demands. The power in his words drips with a lifetime of privilege, a lifetime of assuming that people like her are beneath him. Monica doesn't flinch. She remains silent, her back straight, her movements deliberate. She calmly opens her bag, the quiet rustling of fabric filling the tense silence. Her hand slides inside, her fingers brushing against the objects she's carrying. But there's something in her that shifts. There's a quiet resolve, a confidence in her eyes that wasn't there before. She's not backing down today. Not this time. Richard's eyes stay fixed on her, but his mind races with accusations. Every second feels like an eternity to him, as he's convinced that she's hiding something, his $50,000 watch. Meanwhile, Monica doesn't rush, doesn't feel the need to explain herself. She's already texted someone, sending a message that will shift the course of this day forever. But she doesn't reveal her hand yet. Today, she's playing her cards close, silently preparing for what's coming next. Monica moves through the lavish penthouse with a practiced routine, dusting the pristine surfaces and tidying the space under the watchful eye of Richard Blackstone. She's used to this. For 5 years, she has worked in homes just like this. Homes of the wealthy, the elite. But she's always been treated like a shadow, her presence nothing more than an afterthought. Today, however, the usual routine feels different. Richard follows her as she moves through the space, his gaze never leaving her. His eyes are sharp, his posture rigid with arrogance. She knows what he's thinking, that she's just a cleaning lady, someone disposable, a mere servant in his eyes. But today, the familiar sting of his condescension is sharper. He begins to mock her quietly, commenting on the way she cleans, the clothes she wears, the very essence of her being. His words are thinly veiled insults, questioning her background, her worth, her very purpose in his home. "Is this how you spend your days? Cleaning the mess of people who actually matter?" Richard sneers, his voice dripping with disdain. Monica's jaw tightens, but she doesn't let the words break her resolve. She continues working, the dust cloth in her hand moving across the marble counter, each swipe an attempt to erase the sting of his comments. It's not the first time she's been humiliated. It won't be the last. But today, something inside her shifts. Today, she will not be silent. Today, she will stand her ground. As if to add fuel to the fire, a sharp, piercing cry cuts through the apartment. The sound of a baby's distress echoes from the other room. Thomas, Richard's 6-month-old son, is crying out with an intensity that causes Monica to pause. It's not the usual cry, the one a baby makes when they're hungry or tired. No, this is different. This is a cry filled with pain, with desperation, something deeper than just a need for food or comfort. Monica's training kicks in. Years of caring for her own nephews, years spent caring for children, have taught her to recognize these sounds, to understand the unspoken needs of a child. She stops in her tracks, her instincts pushing her toward the source of the cry. But Richard, unfazed, waves her off. "Don't worry about it. The nanny takes care of him," he says dismissively. But Monica can't ignore it. The sound of the baby's cries feels like a silent plea for help. She stands in the middle of the room, her fingers tightening on the cleaning cloth, her mind racing. She could turn away, follow Richard's orders, and keep cleaning. But something in her won't let her. She glances briefly at the nanny's empty spot, the absence of care glaring in her mind. Her professional instincts, honed through years of enduring this kind of treatment, tell her she cannot turn away. She quietly moves toward the sound of the baby's cries, her heart heavy with the knowledge that she's stepping out of line. But she doesn't care. Today she will do what is right. Monica's steps are measured as she walks toward the baby's room. Her movements deliberate, each one weighted with years of quiet endurance. Richard's voice rings out again, louder now, a command that rips through the air. "What are you doing? Get back to work." He barks, but there's no force in his words that could break her composure. She doesn't turn to him, doesn't respond to the fury laced in his tone. Instead, she continues toward the door, her gaze fixed ahead, unflinching. Inside, a storm brews, but it's not a storm of panic or fear. It's a calm, controlled rage, simmering beneath the surface, and Richard can't see it, can't touch it. He's never been able to. The baby's cries grow louder as she nears the room. They pierce the thick silence of the apartment like a sharp blade, each cry carrying a sense of urgency, of pain. Monica's heart aches, but there's no outward sign of it. She knows this sound, knows what it means. The instinct to comfort is automatic. Her training as a caretaker kicks in, but so does something deeper, something primal. She is no longer the invisible worker in the background. She is a woman who will not ignore a child in distress, no matter what the cost. As she enters the room, the sight that greets her only solidifies her resolve. The baby, Thomas, is alone in his crib, his small face contorted in discomfort. His diaper is full, his skin flushed from crying, and his little hands are reaching out in helpless desperation. He is a child abandoned by the very people who are supposed to protect him. Monica's breath catches for a split second. The sight of him, so vulnerable, so alone, shakes her, but she doesn't let it show. She steps forward with slow, steady movements, as if her every action is calculated, not just to care for the baby, but to remind herself of the quiet strength she's learned to carry over the years. She picks him up gently, her hands firm yet tender. The baby's cries start to wane immediately, as if he's found the comfort he's been yearning for. The tension in the room begins to melt away, replaced by the soft sound of the baby's breaths, steady and calm. For a moment, Monica stands there, holding him close, the soft rhythm of his breathing in time with her own. The quiet is profound, but it's not the silence that catches Richard off guard. It's the fact that Monica, the woman he's belittled and dismissed, has done what he couldn't. She soothed the child with nothing but calm and care. Richard, still standing in the doorway, watches in stunned silence. His mouth opens, ready to say something, perhaps an accusation, perhaps a reprimand. But for once, his words fail him. The sight of Monica, so composed, so sure, shakes him. This woman, the one he had judged as nothing more than a cleaning lady, has just proven she holds more power in her calm than he could ever muster with all his wealth and privilege. Monica doesn't look at him. She doesn't need to. The truth is clear to her now. She's not here to fight his battle. She's here to do what is right. And that truth, in all its quiet power, is something Richard will never understand. Richard's face hardens as he strides across the room, his hands reaching out to snatch Thomas from Monica's arms. His frustration is palpable, a storm of emotions flickering behind his sharp, angry eyes. The thought of Monica, the cleaning lady, holding power over his son, infuriates him. He jerks the baby away, his grip firm but not gentle, and pulls Thomas into his arms. The moment the baby is back in his father's grasp, Thomas starts crying again, his wails growing louder and more intense. "Stop it! Just stop!" Richard snaps, bouncing the baby in his arms, but nothing works. His anger surges, frustration replacing the control he once had. "What did you do to him?" he demands, his voice thick with accusation. He glares at Monica, as if she's somehow the cause of his son's inconsolable crying. Monica stands across from him, calm as ever. She's not rattled by the noise, nor by Richard's increasing agitation. She simply observes, her posture unwavering, her eyes cool and steady. Her response is quiet but firm, her voice barely rising above a whisper. Babies sense tension. When adults are aggressive, they feel it. Richard's face flushes, his pride pricked by her simple explanation. His jaw tightens as he continues to try everything to calm the baby, patting his back, rocking him gently, but Thomas won't stop crying. Richard's efforts are in vain. The baby squirms in his arms, resisting any comfort he tries to offer. Monica watches, her expression unchanged. She doesn't rush to intervene. She doesn't need to. She knows that the more Richard tries to assert control, the more Thomas will sense the discord, the tension in the air, and the louder he will cry. It's not some magic trick that Monica holds. It's a quiet understanding of the world around her. A knowledge that Richard is yet to grasp. The power of calm, the importance of presence, the simple truth that tension breeds chaos. She takes a slow breath, her gaze never leaving Richard. As he struggles, Monica quietly steps back, giving him space, but she's not backing down. She knows her worth. She knows that her calmness has already shifted the balance in this room. Richard's authority, his wealth, his anger, they mean nothing in this moment. All they've done is unravel him further. Maybe you should try letting go of the anger, she offers quietly, watching the scene unfold without a trace of doubt or frustration. It's okay to be vulnerable with him. Richard doesn't hear the wisdom in her words. His eyes flash with irritation, his grip on Thomas tightening. But deep down, somewhere in the back of his mind, he feels the shift. He may not understand it yet, but the balance has changed. Monica's quiet confidence is more powerful than his loud indignation. And in this small, yet monumental moment, Richard starts to feel it, the first taste of his own loss of control. Monica stands firm, her body language a study in calmness, while Richard's anger churns around her like a storm. His voice grows louder, his accusations sharper, but there's something different in the air now. His words no longer seem to touch her. She's not the woman he's trying to tear down. She's no longer simply the cleaning lady in his penthouse. She's someone who sees more, who knows more, and who carries an unspoken strength. Richard's desperation is palpable. He throws more accusations, his voice cracking with frustration, but Monica doesn't flinch. She doesn't react with anger, nor does she try to defend herself. Instead, a small, almost imperceptible smile plays on her lips as she takes a breath, letting the tension in the room settle around her. It's as though she's done with the chaos, done with the accusation. She's done waiting for his permission to act. Without a word, she moves toward the kitchen. Her footsteps are steady, each one measured with quiet confidence. Richard watches her, his eyes narrowing with suspicion. He expects her to bow to his will, to grovel, to apologize, to become the woman he wants her to be. But Monica isn't playing his game anymore. She steps into the kitchen with the same deliberate calmness, her eyes scanning the room as if her every movement is part of a bigger picture. "I can see what happened," Monica says finally, her voice low but clear. Richard freezes, his irritation flickering briefly with confusion. She doesn't speak with the urgency of a woman trying to prove herself. Instead, she speaks as if she's merely explaining something that should have been obvious to him from the beginning. She turns back to face him, her eyes locking with his. "Your son felt the stress in the room," she continues, her voice calm but weighted with experience. "Babies are sensitive to tension. When adults are aggressive, they pick up on it, even if they can't understand the words. They cry because of that unsettled energy." Richard scoffs, still trying to dismiss her, but his words are now weaker, less certain. He mutters something under his breath, but Monica doesn't let him interrupt. She's not here to argue with him. She's here to show him something he'll never understand. Her gaze moves from Richard to the baby's room, and the shift in the air is palpable. Where once there was mockery, now there's a quiet tension in the room. The other people in the apartment, the ones who had been watching, whispering, and even laughing at her earlier, begin to pay attention. The skepticism that had defined their view of her is starting to fade. It's subtle at first, A glance exchanged here and there, but it's there. Monica speaks again, explaining more about what had been going on in the room. Her words are precise, measured, and insightful. She talks about Richard's approach to the baby, how his frustration and tension only compounded the problem, how a gentle, calm presence could have made all the difference. Richard is still in disbelief, still trying to hold onto his superiority. But the crowd, once mocking her, now watches in quiet respect. The shift is happening, and Monica's calm mastery of the situation is the catalyst. The respect is not loud, not dramatic. It's not an applause or an ovation. It's a subtle shift in the way people look at her, a shift from judgment to understanding. The power is now in her hands, and Richard, the one who thought he held all the cards, is left feeling foolish, his frustration building as Monica continues to calmly hold his gaze. For the first time, Richard feels the weight of his arrogance. And for the first time, Monica's quiet strength has revealed the genius that was always beneath the surface. The tension, though still in the air, has subtly changed. It's no longer about dominance or control. It's about who is truly in command. Monica's actions are simple, deliberate, but they speak volumes. She gently lowers Thomas back into his crib, her hands moving with calm precision. The baby stirs for a moment, his cries softening, before he settles into a peaceful silence, his tiny chest rising and falling steadily. The change is almost imperceptible, but it's enough to shift the energy in the room. The tension that had been hanging in the air like a thick fog begins to dissipate, replaced by a quiet that is both heavy and profound. The room, once filled with the sound of Richard's accusations and the subtle mockery from those around him, falls into complete silence. Richard stands there for a moment, seething with frustration, his breath coming in short bursts as he watches Monica with eyes filled with disbelief and anger. His grip on his emotions starts to slip. He can feel the power slipping away from him, and it sends a surge of panic through him. His voice cracks as he tries to assert control once more. "I want an apology," Richard demands, his words sharp and filled with an urgency he can't disguise. His face is flushed with rage, his posture aggressive, but this time, his demand is met with no fear, no hesitation. Monica's voice is a soft, calm counterpoint to his rage. "I'm sorry if you feel that way, Mr. Blackstone, but I've done nothing wrong," she responds, her words steady, unshaken by his emotional outbursts. "I only did what any person would do. I cared for your child when he needed it." Her simple acknowledgement of the situation, without defiance or apology, is like a drop of water falling into a once still pond, creating ripples that spread out in every direction. The crowd, which had once looked on in mockery, is now watching with silent judgment. Their earlier whispers fade into nothing, replaced by a collective stillness as they observe the power dynamic shift before their eyes. Richard, still grasping for control, tries to lash out once again. His words become more frantic, more desperate, but they lose their power as the room turns in Monica's favor. The arrogance that once defined his every move now feels brittle, vulnerable. He doesn't even realize that the crowd has already turned away from him, their eyes no longer following his every move with fear or respect, but with quiet disapproval. Monica stands tall, her calmness and composure now a quiet force that forces Richard to confront his own unraveling. She doesn't have to speak loudly, doesn't have to raise her voice. Her presence alone, her unwavering calm, is enough to shift the energy in the room. And as Richard's frustration mounts, he starts to realize, for the first time, that his attempts to dominate this situation are futile. He's no longer the center of attention. Monica is. The shift is subtle but undeniable. Where once there was ridicule, there is now silent respect. The power has changed hands, and Richard's arrogance is crumbling, piece by piece, with each passing second. Just as Richard is about to launch into another tirade, his voice rising in frustration, Monica's phone buzzes. The sound cuts through the tension, an almost imperceptible shift, but it's enough to draw both her attention and Richard's. She glances down at the screen, her lips curling into a faint, knowing smile. Richard pauses, sensing a change, but before he can make sense of it, Monica's calm voice fills the air, cutting through his growing panic. "That's my father," she says, her words casual but laden with weight. "He's just arrived." Richard stares at her, his confusion deepening. For the first time, he's beginning to realize that this woman, the one he'd mocked, belittled, and accused, is not who he thought she was. She's not the helpless cleaning lady he presumed. She's not just here to scrub his floors and tend to his house. There's something more to her, something he hadn't seen before, something he never could have imagined. Monica's eyes meet his with an almost imperceptible challenge, as she shifts the phone to her ear. "Hello, Dad. I'm in the middle of something. I'll meet you in a few minutes." Richard's mind races. Who was this man she was speaking to? Why does he have such a calm hold on the situation? The irritation on his face deepens as he watches Monica continue her conversation with a serene confidence that has him rattled. As Monica hangs up, she turns to face him once again. The smile that had been on her lips earlier now lingers there, but it's different. Less like a woman humoring her accuser and more like someone revealing a hidden truth. "I never told you about my past, Mr. Blackstone," she says, her voice still soft but now carrying the weight of something much larger. She steps forward, closing the space between them with ease. "I'm not just someone who cleans your house, you see." Richard stares at her, his brain trying to process what's unfolding. "What are you talking about?" He spits, his voice seething with disbelief. "You're a cleaner. That's all you'll ever be." Monica's gaze doesn't waver. "I used to be a private investigator," she says calmly, watching his jaw tighten in shock. "In fact, I spent years working as an investigator before I even started doing this job." Richard stumbles back, his arrogance faltering in the face of this new revelation. His mind scrambles for something to say, but his words dry up. Monica watches the confusion spread across his face, the mask of superiority beginning to crack. Monica's cool confidence takes on an entirely new dimension. No longer is she simply a woman who stands up for herself in the face of injustice. She's a woman who, with a single statement, has revealed a depth of experience and skill that Richard never saw coming. This wasn't just the cleaning lady he humiliated. This was someone with the tools and knowledge to expose him for what he truly was. Someone who could dig into his life and unravel the lies and prejudices he so comfortably hid behind. The truth hangs in the air, thick and heavy. Richard's mind flashes back to everything he had said and done to her. The accusations, the mockery, all of it had been directed at someone far more capable than he ever realized. Monica watches as Richard takes a step back, his confidence now eroding in the face of the woman who had spent years gathering the skills to expose the very things he had been hiding. But it's not over. Not yet. Her father, the former detective, isn't just a figure from her past. He's the final piece of the puzzle, the weapon Richard never even knew was aimed at him. Monica's eyes narrow, and she doesn't even need to speak the words for Richard to feel the weight of what's coming. Her silence, her calm demeanor, the quiet confidence she's shown from the start, they all speak volumes now. Monica Santos isn't just a cleaning lady. She's a force to be reckoned with. Monica stands tall, her unflinching calm now a beacon of authority. The crowd, once skeptical and mockingly entertained, is now completely captivated, their eyes fixed on her. Richard's confidence is gone, replaced by a frantic desperation that fuels his every movement. His words are coming faster now, stumbling over themselves in an attempt to regain control, but they fall flat. His accusations are empty, and his anger is only a shield for his growing panic. Monica doesn't need to speak loudly. She doesn't need to shout to make her point. She simply reaches into her purse, pulling out a small, unassuming device. With a soft click, she plays a recording that cuts through the air, sharp and clear, capturing every word of their earlier conversation. The voice on the recording is unmistakable, Richard's own. His insults, his threats, his accusations of theft. The words he had spoken in a moment of privilege, unaware that he was being recorded, now echo through the room, undeniable and damning. The crowd goes silent as the weight of the evidence lands on Richard. Monica doesn't flinch, doesn't show any sign of victory. Her expression remains as steady as ever. She has already won, but she's not done yet. The proof she holds is more than just the recording. It's the beginning of the unraveling, the moment Richard's lies are exposed for all to see. Richard's face turns a shade paler with each word on the tape. He opens his mouth to argue, but the words die before they reach his lips. There's no point. The truth is out, and it's clear to everyone in the room. Monica's father, a seasoned investigator, steps forward now, his presence solidifying the final blow. He's carrying a set of legal documents, and as he hands them over to Monica, the room feels even smaller. With a quiet motion, she passes the papers to the crowd, letting them read for themselves. The documents reveal Richard's past, a history of racial discrimination lawsuits, all settled out of court with gag orders. The truth of Richard's actions is laid bare in black and white. His past is not just tainted. It is a testament to his arrogance and prejudice. He had used his wealth and power to silence those he had wronged, but now his actions are exposed for all to see. The crowd, who had once watched with passive indifference, now begins to murmur, their opinions shifting. Monica's composure has been unwavering throughout, but now, as the evidence piles up, they can see the truth. Richard's accusations were not just false. They were rooted in racial prejudice, and they were part of a much larger pattern of behavior. Richard stands there, his mouth open in shock, but no words come. His earlier confidence is gone, replaced by a deep sense of panic that gnaws at him. His attempts to salvage the situation are futile. Monica's quiet resolve has already torn through his defenses, and now, as the full extent of his wrongdoing is revealed, the room closes in on him. The crowd's judgment is clear, their eyes no longer filled with skepticism or doubt. They have seen enough. Richard Blackstone, the millionaire who once thought himself untouchable, is now nothing more than a man exposed. His lies, his arrogance, and his racial prejudice all laid bare. Monica doesn't need to say another word. The evidence has spoken for itself. The walls close in on Richard as he realizes the full scope of his collapse. He is finished. The crowd has spoken, and in this moment his defeat is complete. 2 days later, Monica sits quietly in a small cafe, the clink of coffee cups and the murmur of conversation around her hardly registering as she reflects on the whirlwind of events that have unfolded. Richard Blackstone, once a towering figure of privilege and arrogance, is now nothing more than a name on the back pages of newspapers, his reputation in ruins. He's lost everything: his job, his wealth, his social status, the empire he built on discrimination and arrogance collapsing in a single shattering moment. As Monica sits, the weight of it all slowly sinks in. The humiliations she endured, the quiet pain of years spent as nothing more than a servant to the wealthy, have all led to this. Richard's downfall is complete, but for Monica, the victory isn't just about seeing him crumble. It's about what she has gained, something far more valuable than revenge. She's been offered a position in a prestigious investigative firm, one of the top in the country. Her skills, her hidden talents, once dismissed as insignificant, are now being recognized by those who understand their true worth. It's a dream come true, a testament to the power of resilience, of holding onto one's dignity even when the world tries to strip it away. Monica's journey hasn't been easy. It's been filled with challenges, setbacks, and moments of doubt. But the quiet strength she's built over the years, forged through adversity and injustice, has carried her forward into a new chapter. She's not just a woman who survived the cruel systems around her. She's a woman who thrived, rising above the limits others tried to impose on her. Her reflection is not filled with bitterness or anger, but with a quiet pride. She thinks of the many others who have been mistreated, overlooked, and underappreciated, the ones whose voices have been silenced by power, by prejudice. Monica knows her story will inspire them. It's not just her personal victory that matters now. It's the message it sends, that no matter how small or insignificant society tries to make you feel, your worth cannot be erased. Your strength cannot be broken. As she finishes her coffee, A sense of peace settles over her. The best revenge isn't in destroying those who hurt you, she thinks. It's in building something so powerful, so undeniable, that their actions become irrelevant. The best revenge, she murmurs softly to herself, is to rise above it all and create a life they could never have imagined for you. Monica stands up, a sense of quiet confidence in every step. The future is hers to shape, and she is no longer the woman the world tried to define. She is someone who has rewritten her own story, and with every new day, she continues to build a future filled with purpose, hope, and the unshakable belief that no one, no matter their wealth or privilege, can ever take that away from her.